Hello, my name is Daniel Parsons. I'm a professor and the director of the Energy and Environment Institute at the University of Hull. Welcome to our celebration of International Women's Day 2021. You might wonder why we celebrate International Women's Day and what it's all about. Well, we know that women are disadvantaged in a whole range of parts of our society. And International Women's Day is about challenging that, because through challenging comes change. So we really want to drive an equality, a diversity, and an inclusive environment in our institute and in our university. So in order to do that, we should be celebrating what women do, what women achieve, and all of the fantastic things that they do in and around the university. And that's what today is about, really. All of us have been inspired by, work with incredible women that achieve fantastic things. And what you'll hear about from the folks I work with is a celebration of that, because through that and through celebrating achievements will help forge a gender equal world, raise that awareness against bias, and really take action to ensure that equality happens. I hope you really enjoy listening to some of the fantastic stories from the team here, and that you enjoy what they have to say.
Hi, my name is Agata. I'm a researcher at the University of Hull. I work on renewable energy, and in particular on offshore wind. I must admit I never planned to be a researcher, it just happened. I always enjoyed learning how things work, and when I found out that this can help the world to transition to a more green and sustainable place by generating electricity from the wind that blows and the sun that shines, I was really hooked. I guess the path towards research started with my master thesis, where I chose to create a computer model of my university campus and see how the wind that blows around the buildings changes its patterns, and there are places where the wind speeds up and we can place tiny wind turbines on there to generate electricity locally. That was so much fun that when I found out you can actually get paid to play with computer models, I decided, yep, that sounds good. So I chose a PhD, but on offshore wind. So I simulated the sea and the wind turbines that stand in it. And yeah, stayed in the field since then. Of course, there are hard times. For example, when my code, which was meant to simulate the waves, it just did not work and I couldn't find out why. And for months and months, I was trying to find that tiny issue that made the code not work. Tried consulting with other people and they just said, oh no, it should work, it should. It was frustrating. It can make you feel helpless and why am I even doing this? Maybe I'm not the right person to do that. But when you don't give up and you finally find the way that makes it work, oh, that feeling is incredible. It made me feel like I can move mountains, I can do anything. So I think I'm sort of addicted to it now. So research is really fantastic. It's a creative work where you need to find the solutions to problems using any methods you can think of, but then also find the next problem you should tackle. And yeah, you get to write things so that people read, presenting at conferences and reading and writing research papers. So it has just a little bit of everything and it makes you feel like you're learning and playing and creating all the time. So I wouldn't change it for anything.
Hi, my name is Sophie and I am an Aura PhD student studying the effects of offshore wind, noise and vibration on faunal invertebrates. So what really led to me being here is my passion for the marine world and the environment. I actually had a really hard time with my A-levels during sixth form and I had no idea whether I wanted to or even could go to uni in the future. So before deciding this, I volunteered for a turtle conservation project in Greece. And being out there and being fully immersed in this work and and getting hands-on experience with research and conservation really helped me to realise that I wanted to continue my education. Becoming a PhD researcher has been so fulfilling and has made me even more aware of all of the important environmental work there is to be done for the future of our world, particularly learning more about renewable energy and the uphill battle that we have for a low carbon future. This year has been such a challenge for us all, but being in academia, there is so much important research that has persevered through this difficult year, and there is so much amazing work to be done in the future.
Hi, I'm Kelly Stanford. I'm a science communicator and researcher at the University of Hull's Energy and Environment Institute. My main study is looking to use card games as a form of science communication, especially when communicating flood risk to communities. I've always been interested in science from a very early age. I watched countless documentaries on TV as a kid, and I also read loads of books on space and space exploration. But despite this, even though I was interested in the sciences at a young age, I felt that these interests were never picked up by my teachers. So I was always dissuaded into going down the route of STEM research. It wasn't until my college years that my love for science was rekindled and I started exploring ways to integrate science into my art. I found that by doing that, it actually piqued the interest of my peers in these scientific subjects. They'd come up to me when I was creating these pieces asking, oh, what's this about? What does this do? I found that this was a great way to spark people's interest in these topics that normally they wouldn't approach. During my university undergrad, I studied art history, looking at how science and the art had intertwined over the years and how artists had used art and science together as a way to spark the public's interest in these topics and explore these concepts through different means. I feel like interdisciplinary and creativity in science is really important. Science communication is an important part of being a researcher, I feel. Mainly, doing science communication means to communicate your research or someone else's research to the greater public in ways where they can understand it despite not being from your subject area or generally maybe not even having any knowledge of science in the first place. I think some of my highlights of doing research at the University of Hull has been creating a card game. It's been a lifelong dream of mine to create a card game and to create one that can be used in a science outreach setting and actually help communicate what people can do about flooding and the environment. I think that's just been incredible. It's just been so rewarding seeing this project come to life and turn into a physical thing that I can hold and I can show people, and it can actually, help people as well. I think one artwork I'm particularly proud about is the STEM bee that I created back in 2018. I created this 6-foot tall bee sculpture which was embellished with scientific imagery. We also had 80 odd scientists come and sign the bee in order to represent the research currently being done in the city. After the 2 months of it being on display for the public to interact with and read all the science facts, it was eventually auctioned off for charity, raising £22,000 for homeless charities around the area, showing that science communication projects can also help the community on a wider scale. If I wasn't a science communicator, I'd probably still be going down the path of art history, but still obviously trying to combine science and scientific subjects within my discipline. My message to the next generation would be, don't take no for an answer. If someone tells you you can't do something, just prove them wrong. I mean, I've been told plenty of times because I'm a woman that I can't do this or that, or something's too hard. I would just use that as fuel to prove them wrong.
Ever since I can remember, I've loved maths and science. And the more that I learn, the more that I want to learn. Sometimes it can be tricky because people think that it can be boring, But if you enjoy something, you enjoy it.
My road into research wasn't a traditional one. My early career was in zoos and conservation. As you can imagine, it was great. In this line of work, I became more and more aware of the impact we are having on our planet. Environmental issues are notoriously complex, and there are still so many things we don't understand or that we need more evidence on to inform change. The scale of the plastics pollution problem. We urgently need more passionate people to help figure out how humans can live and work with our planet. So many unanswered questions remain, and playing a part of this vital research is really rewarding, so come and join us.
Hi, I'm Felix, and I'm a marine biologist. I'm a scientist, but I think I became a scientist kind of by accident, because after school I really didn't know what to do with life, with myself. But I always liked science. I liked how you have to question everything in order to find an answer on how things work and why things work that way. So after school I started studying biology, not to become a scientist, but just because I was curious about nature, and I like to find out how things work around us. For example, a simple rock pool at the beach becomes so much more interesting if you know which animals live in it and what's hiding under that rock, what that seaweed is. It's just more interesting if you know. And if you don't know, you have to find out. So now I'm in my second year of my PhD already, and I'm researching how plastic affects marine life when it gets into the ocean and potentially gets eaten by marine animals. And I think somewhere along that way I became a scientist. Just, I don't know when it happened. Maybe it was there all along. But during my journey in science, I also became much more aware on how important science is and how important good scientists are to us. Because we need to see the world critically, and we need to ask ourselves questions in order to protect nature and protect the world around us. This is really something I want to do. And there's still so much we don't know that we have to find out. So we need good scientists to do that. And we need good female scientists.
Hi everyone, I'm Freya Mendrick. I'm a marine biologist and PhD student at the University of Hull. Ever since I can remember, I have been so interested in the world around us, in nature, but especially our oceans. And I was really lucky to grow up right by the coast, so I'd spend as much time as I could in the sea or exploring the rock pools. And as I grew up, I realised I could actually make a career out of this. And what I really love about marine biology and marine science is that there's still so much left to explore and discover, and that is so exciting. So my research at the moment is all about plastic pollution, and I'm really passionate about this subject because I want to be part of the solution to the plastic crisis. So my research hasn't been done before, but it's hopefully going to help us gain a better understanding of the impacts of plastic, but also ways to prevent and reduce ecological harm. So working in research is really exciting. I've been all over the world for field work and for conferences, but there's also a lot of hard work involved. There's a lot of long days in the lab or at the computer analysing data, but it is really worth it in my eyes. So finally, I really believe anybody can be a scientist. You don't need to be top of your class. As long as you are curious and you want to keep learning, then you can do it.
Hi, my name is Sophia and I'm a doctoral candidate at the University of Hull, and what that basically means is that I'm doing a higher degree by research. So when you do PhD studies, you choose a subject that interests you and you go away for 3 or 4 years and you investigate and research that subject on your own in order to get your degree. I didn't come to climate change directly. I didn't come through a STEM route. In fact, I originally went to college and did humanities and arts subjects. So I did English, business studies, media studies, photography, nothing science related at all. Then I went to university and did a degree in English, and then a master's degree which was in human rights and the law and how you protect people's rights. And then I went off and worked for more than 10 years in that area, so working particularly with people in developing countries, in protecting their rights, people living in poverty, for example. And really didn't work in science at all for many years and had no expertise in that area. But then through my work in human rights, I kept coming up against this same topic, which was climate change. People would say, well, the biggest problem for me is the weather is changing, the climate's changing, and people being pushed into poverty, people having to leave their homes. And this was really undermining people's rights and people's quality of life. And I started to think to myself, if I'm going to help people have any impact in my job in the future, this is something I really need to get to grips with. And at the moment, I don't have the skills, I don't have the knowledge, the expertise to work on this subject at all. So in my mid-30s, after I'd already had my son, so I was already a mum, I decided to go back to university and try and get to grips with this big topic of climate change and, start working in the science field. It's possible at any point in your life to decide now is the right time for me to get into STEM.
Hello, my name is Jordan and I'm a PhD student at the University of Hull, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story as a marine scientist and where I am now. So the thing that actually sparked my interest to get into a marine science was when I was about 15. My dad and I were away on holiday, and I saw some marine biologists that were diving, and they were actually laying down tape, taking pictures of coral, putting down grids. And as soon as we came out from snorkeling, I said to Dad, that's what I want to do. So from then I decided that I was going to go into marine biology, which is exactly what I did. So I did marine biology at the University of Hull as my undergraduate degree. And my path has sort of changed. I don't think I'm going to go down that coral sort of field anymore. I'm now really into renewable energies and also anthropogenic impacts, so that's human impacts on anything really, but particularly for me, I'm interested in human impacts on the ocean, so that's exactly what my PhD is on now. So that's kind of what sparked my interest, what sparked my passion, and for me, I'm particularly curious about things that we don't know yet. I have such a big excitement for finding out different things, and also I feel like science is a bit of a puzzle. You kind of piece together different things that someone has found out before you, and you find out a little bit more and you can piece them together, or just making the jigsaw basically. I think that is what excites me about science the most, that my brain is constantly challenged, and I absolutely love that. And also being able to make a difference, I think is something that excites me a lot. And with the opportunities that I've been given, for example this PhD, I hope that from this I will be able to make a difference and help develop the offshore wind sector. So the other thing about science as well is I feel like it's a community. I feel like being part of the scientific research community means that everyone can learn from each other and learn from people's mistakes or things that worked well for them. And I think that is so important, because there is no I in team. There is an I in science, but I still think that science is very much a team effort. You can't solve all the questions in science by yourself. It is a team effort. So I think that is something that makes me feel part of a community, being in a science and research environment, because I do feel part of a team. I've had many highlights which motivate me now thinking about them. So for example, in my undergraduate degree, I was very lucky and managed to get CFAS, which is a government organisation, on board in my dissertation. So CFAS are the Centre for Fisheries and Aquaculture Science. And from that I've been able to sign up and got accepted into my first international conference. So that is meant to be in September, we'll see. So far so good, it is going ahead at the minute, but time will tell. So that is a massive highlight, and I can't wait to be able to have that experience. And also I was able to be interviewed by Orsted to talk about the opportunities in offshore wind for young people, how important it is. So that was another thing that is definitely a highlight for me. In terms of the next generation, I think there is so much yet to figure out and learn, whether it's marine science, whether it's absolutely anything, engineering. There is so much that you can do. And I just think that is so exciting that whatever this generation finds out, the next generation can build on that knowledge. And we have no idea what that could be yet. It's absolutely amazing and a really exciting prospect. So if you are excited by the thought of developing new things and helping build a sustainable future, then I think science is exactly what you need to get into.
Hi, my name's Katie Parsons and I'm a PhD researcher here at the University of Hull. And my research is all about you. It's about looking at whether children and young people can access the outdoors, be that in recreation or within education. I'm trying to find out if by going outdoors and learning outside of the classroom, it can help you learn better, but also help health and well-being. I also do much work with schools and youth groups on environmental education and addressing the climate emergency. I am what you call an interdisciplinary scientist. So what does that mean? That means that I have a little bit of education, I have a little bit of child and youth studies, I've got a little bit of psychology, a little bit of sociology, and a little bit of human geography. And this allows me to work with a whole different range of other scientists to help get the information out to you. My message to you is that it's never too late. I didn't fit school, I didn't do well at school, I didn't go to college. But what I did is I went into a career that I loved. I found my subject, I found my passion. So when I had the opportunity, I came back into university after having all them years of knowledge. I used to work with children with emotional and behavioural difficulties to help them overcome their challenges. With this, I did lots of play therapy and creative therapy. And these skills have helped me today become a researcher. So when you get told, stop asking questions, be that from parents or carers, brothers or sisters, or even your teachers, let you know that that is one skill, and it's probably the top skill that researchers need. Keep asking them questions. Keep that wonder in your head and keep on thinking, what if? Because it's never too late.